Were you and your husband ever blackened?
We were not. My brother was blackened.
Was he really?
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Oh, tell us about that.
He was just blackened by a group of his male cousins.
Yes.
Mainly cousins and friends. But when I got married, my family had left the northeast and had gone to the Highlands, the West Highlands of Scotland, and it's not common there to be blackened. So, a lot depends on where you're living at the time.
And what did, it's Douglas, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did Douglas receive in terms of blackening? Was it like tar and oil and things? What happened?
It's just, you just get caught from wherever you are and taken, as I say, to this place of blackening. And actually, even some places, like the village of Laurenskirk, they actually have a cage. A cage. They have a cage.
A blackening cage.
A blackening cage that fits on the back of a lorry, and the young couple. You can see it if you put Laurenskirk blackenings into a Google search.
As part of your research, you went onto the streets of Aberdeen to observe hen parties. Is that correct? Have I got that correct?
Correct.
What did you see, and what did this exercise tell you?
Well, I suppose the first thing I need to say about why I did that was because I'm a little bit older than your average PhD student, shall we say. So a lot of the activities that take part in hen parties take part about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, a time when I'm normally tucked up in bed asleep. So I needed to go out there and witness it for myself. And I was very interested in watching the behaviour, watching how they interacted between themselves, watching how they interacted between members of the public, and also with organisations, with people like the police, taxi marshals, that kind of thing. So it just is useful to go out and see them in action.
So you were saying that. So were you actually tagging along hen parties? Were you catching them as they were falling out of bars or? So
because I was looking at women from 1940 to, let's say, 2015, mostly I was getting their accounts. Because obviously you can't go back to 2000, or you can't go back in time. So for it to be a level playing field, I felt that it wasn't particularly the best way to do my research, to go out on lots of contemporary hen parties. Because I couldn't go back in time to women who had a hen party in 1950.
Okay, right.
So, but I did go on one hen party and I did go on one blackening, just for the reasons I've just given you, just to immerse myself in it, to feel how it felt. So yeah.
And where was the blackening you went to?
The blackening was actually in West Hill.
Oh, right, okay. In West Hill, okay. Okay. What's the most unusual or extravagant or memorable blackening that you've come across in your research? Is there any particular that stick out? As like
well, there's a couple from Peterhead actually. There's one woman and she and her husband were strung up in a tree upside down,
right,
having been blackened for quite some considerable time. There's other accounts of stripping, semi-stripping, which is the main thing that concerns people in a blackening. They just don't know how far
they're going to go. This is what I was going to say as well, because a blackening, do people suffer injuries in these things?
Yes, they do suffer injuries.
And at what point would a blackening be done in relation to the wedding?
Well, this is one of the reasons that it's moved much further back from the wedding. The feet washing, which developed into the blackening, was on the eve of the wedding. But there were so many incidents of people still having
hair ruined,
black skin or whatever, or injuries, broken bones and things like that. that you will now find that they won't be in the last few days before the wedding.
Who does blackenings? Is it by everyone, or is there like a particular demographic? Did you find that, say, rich and poor, or is there no difference? It's
there is definitely a certain sector of the population who are blackened. So remember, it's not volitional. You don't choose to be blackened. You are blackened, and you can't really say there's a particular social class. It's not rich. It's not poor. It is people who are local and who stay local. So therefore, it tends not to be people that might go away to university, might go working, all over Britain or all over the world. It tends to be people who stay locally. Now, if you want to say that that's a particular socio-economic group, you can, but that's not the reason. The reason is that they're local and that they stay.
Okay.
And in a sense, I think also the message going out to other people. So, for example, in this community, you know who the local people are, and you know that you're not local. So I could live here in this village for the rest of my life, and I won't be a local.
Yeah, I see. Is what would be? I mean, is it mostly associated the blackening? The biggest city, I presume, that the blackening area would be Aberdeen. Would that be correct? Would it happen in a city like that?
The thing is, there's also an urban-rural divide. So you tend not to see many blackenings in Aberdeen city itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, small towns, villages, farms, it's mainly rural.
How has the blackening changed through the years, and why has this change occurred?
So the blackening has changed from, first of all, being on the night before the wedding, because it's become a much more raucous affair. So people were getting filthy, getting injured on the night before their wedding. That's just not on. It's gone from maybe using one material like soot from the chimney to this vat of gunge that has got everything in it. So it's become very excessive. It's this culture of excess now. Because you wouldn't never have in post-war years have thrown good food away. You could not have done that. So again, it's because we live in a society with surplus.
So that's largely, you think that's the reason, largely one of the reasons for the change is the...
So when I spoke to women who got married in the 1950s, 40s, 50s and 60s, they all remarked that they found the blackening, that it went too far nowadays, as far as they were concerned.
Right, okay.
It was out of control.
Where is the blackening's place in today's society?
I think the blackening has a really important place in society in that it's about maintaining traditions and giving people a sense of community. So if you think about the stag party and the hen party, they are essentially about friendship groups and bonding. The blackening is about kinship. It's the closest of the close people who you're probably related to, or you've been with them since primary school. So I think it's about affirming that kinship.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are part of a place.
Okay.
And part of a history as well.
Is the hen party the closest comparison to the blackening? The hen party and the stag do? Oh, obviously.
Well, they're incredibly different. But I suppose the similarity is that both of them contain elements of trial. And that's because getting married has traditionally been considered a rite of passage. And if you look at rite of passage rituals, they usually involve you having to prove that you're ready to go from one status to the next higher status. If you think about initiation rituals, in order for a girl to become a woman or a boy to become a man, they had to go through a series of trials. So going from single to married was considered going up in status, and therefore you needed to prove that you were worthy of going to this next step. So both of these rituals contain trials. It's not supposed to be comfortable for you. You know, even the nicest hen parties and stag parties will contain elements that bring the bride or the groom discomfort.
So the blackening, that is something totally unique. There's nothing that you can't really compare it to.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No, it is unique.
My final question is there anything you'd like to add that you didn't get a chance to say or you would have liked to have said?
My hope is that the blackening continues on for a long time.